in the inner city that wasn't doing anything. It was a big old sanctuary like this one, but it white flight, typical situation, just like this community. Everybody moved out, and the church was deteriorating. So we went in there and did a Thanksgiving dinner. 300 people showed up from the neighborhood. One of the things about ministering to the poor is you'll see this week. You just say free food, and people are coming. In fact, when I was waiting here for you guys, I didn't have the key, but some of the Hispanic kids in the neighborhood were coming around and saying, "Can we get some Cokes? Oh, we don't have any Cokes in our refrigerator." And they know that this place always have not Cokes, but sodas and little things like that for them. So this is kind of a place where people have realized that, you know, that we're here to help. And so that's kind of what we did in Indianapolis. And then the next month we did a Thanksgiving or a Christmas dinner, and 500 people showed up. And so we were like, wow, Lord, you got a mission field right here in the inner city of Indianapolis. So we did that and started a ministry called Shepherd Community, which still is going 25 years later, and we're really proud of it. And it's a big ministry and lots of neat things over there. But then God called us to the mission field for a couple of years to do medical missions. My wife was the first OB they had at this mission hospital in Kenya. And so we had a son in Kenya, so that means I'm a Kenyan father. Amen? In fact, my son Solomon, when he was 10 years old, we went to a Martin Luther King celebration, and the guy was speaking, and he says, "I'm proud to be an African American," and all that kind of stuff. And Solomon says, "Dad, I'm an African American, aren't I?" And I said, "That's right, and I'm an African father." So, but we had a great time in Kenya. Started a chaplaincy training school there in the honor of Ruth Graham's father. If you know Dr. Bell, Dr. Graham, that family, the Billy Graham family, we started a chaplaincy school in his honor, Dr. Nelson Bell. Well, then the Lord called us back here to Denver to start this ministry called Crosses of the Rockies, and it's kind of what you see here. We're in another building, a smaller building, for about 10 years, and now 2 years ago, we found this church. Similar situation. The building we were in, we were outgrowing it, we didn't have much space, it was expensive, and these guys were one of our partners in doing some neighborhood stuff, and it's kind of fun in the inner city. We all work together, because in the inner city, you can't have division. There's too much work. We don't have the politics you might have in other places of the community. Our inner city churches, we all love each other, work together, help each other out, because it's a battle down here. And so I was talking to these guys one day, and I just mentioned that our building was big, and we were running out of room and stuff, and they go, "Why don't you come over here? We got lots of room." I was like, "No way, are you serious?" He goes, "Yeah." So lock, stock, and barrel, one weekend, we just brought our whole ministry, computers and tables and everything over here. Over there, we had no gym, as you just saw. We had no full kitchen. We didn't have all this space in the sanctuary. We had one big multi-purpose room, and then we had to do everything out of there. And we were paying $5,000 a month for all the utilities and trash and lawn care and all that kind of stuff. So we came over to this ministry, all nations. And here's what's cool about this. Did Jim give you this orientation about the congregations here?
Not a little bit, just a small piece.
Well, if I repeat it, just tell me.
Go ahead, because some of them weren't here.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, but this little church, it's a Southern Baptist organization, and you can understand they're good folks. They've been here for 50 years, but they're older congregation. They're a graying congregation. They knew that if they didn't change some things, they would die out. So they just started opening their hearts to other congregations. So along came a Hispanic pastor, and he wanted to start a Spanish church. So we have a Spanish church here. And then later on, there was a Vietnamese pastor that came by, because this community also has Vietnamese folks. And Pastor Han, he started a Vietnamese church. So now we have 3 churches, an English church, a Spanish church, and a Vietnamese church. And interestingly enough, the English church is the smallest one. But that's just because the community isn't white and English speaking anymore. So, but these dear folks kept the building going, and so now we have a big Spanish congregation, which you're going to experience tomorrow at 11.